Hey guys, welcome. We're gonna watch the second film of the night, which is The Dark Knight Returns, parts 1 and 2. Now this is gonna be a way different movie.
All right.
Very, very different.
This is not canon Batman. This is Frank Miller's Batman. Mm-hmm. And whenever Frank Miller is allowed to write a Batman story, it gets a little crazy.
Oh boy.
So
yeah, I think little is an understatement.
It is. and the artwork in this movie is great, but doesn't even trim the surface of the actual comics, because the comics are just weird, wacky artwork. Mm-hmm. And some people thought they were great, some people thought they were terrible, and thought Frank Miller should never be allowed to write for Batman again.
Oh.
It is a long movie. It's 2 parts. It's about 2 hours and 2.5 hours altogether. And part of this was the basis of Batman v Superman. They had referenced a bunch of this when they announced Batman v Superman at Comic-Con. They read a line from the comic that this movie is based off of. And everybody thought, oh, they're going to do Dark Knight Returns, and they didn't. But it's kind of cool that it was kind of based off this. So.
All right.
All right, so let's watch that one. All right, well, we finished it.
We did.
Now, that was a Batman movie.
That was a freaking Batman movie.
Yeah.
I think combined it was like 2.5 hours. Mm-hmm. And now I don't own the Blu-ray where it's in one film format, so we did watch parts 1 and 2. So I'd like to go over the individual parts and then as a whole. If you don't mind. So, Allie, you haven't seen this as a whole.
Right.
What were your thoughts on it?
So good.
Really? I was concerned
really
whether or not you'd like this.
It's really good. It took me a little bit to get used to like the aesthetics of it, like how it looked. Especially coming off the last one we watched, the one we watched before it.
Right.
It was so different aesthetically. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just a really, a much darker Batman, which I enjoy seeing. Mm-hmm. Like kind of that take where he goes a little further than you expect him to. This dude was massive. And they even made like his logo like bigger, which I found hilarious.
This is the Batman dubbed Fat Man.
But he's
not fat. It's all muscle.
Right.
It's
Just
like,
muscle.
He's really wide.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's old. He hasn't been Batman for a while, so he doesn't have the cardio of running around rooftops. So he's just got muscle.
And I like how they made that aspect of like, you know, him coming back after 10 years more realistic. I mean, like you could tell he was a little bit slower. Like he had to take breaths to like, steady himself, catch his breath. Like they didn't make it so, you know, he's been out 10 years, but just happened to be in amazing shape. And you know, right back at the top of his game type thing. So yeah, it was good. I liked the darker take.
Certainly darker.
Yeah, much darker. There was one part of it, I think, that I can't remember now what it was, but I was just kind of like, well, this is like kind of a weird... It was kind of towards the end.
Of the first part or the
No,
movie
of the
as a
second
whole?
part, the movie as a whole.
Okay,
And
try to
I'm
think of it.
I know, I'm like blanking.
Let's go over the first part first. So he's been out of commission. He's hasn't been Batman for like 10 years. The city is overrun with just crime. Just like lots of violent crime.
Yeah,
they were saying it's as bad as the Joker, if not worse. The gang and the mutants. Commissioner Gordon's on the way out. And this was written by Frank Miller. And I didn't do this on purpose, but there was a lot of callbacks to Jason Todd because it was written around the same time in the 80s. And Frank Miller had done an amazing job on Year One. Wait, was Year One before this? Did he write Year One before this?
I don't think so.
I think year one came after this.
I think you're right.
But someone approached him to do, like an end-all for Batman. I mean, this is very much Old Man Bruce versus Old Man Logan. Like not necessarily canon, but a possible future for what we know as Batman.
Yeah. If they ever had to send off like the perfect Batman actor, this would be the movie to do it with, much like Hugh Jackman and Logan.
And we did mention this before, so you mentioned Bruce Greenwood. He was the voice of the last movie.
And hopefully to redeem some of my nerd cred, Bruce Greenwood being the former Captain Pike of the Star Trek reboot.
Yes.
It was in Red Hood, whereas in this one was RoboCop, Peter Weller.
Yes.
And I got the two mixed up.
And what an iconic voice. I think you were just thinking of Peter Weller as going to be in this one, but you had the right name. You did say Bruce Greenwood for the first one.
The voice was perfect. I mean, it was just how I would have pictured I would have thought that an old Batman would sound like. It reminded me of like Tom Selleck.
It did.
For some reason.
I love Kevin Conroy. Conroy. Why was I saying Conway? I love Kevin Conroy as Batman, but I also love this voice as Batman as well.
Yeah, the Kevin Conroy voice is definitely the young Batman. I mean, that's like when he was in his 30s, 40s, maybe a little in late 40s. But yeah, this voice for this old Batman, this is like in his 60s. Maybe approaching 70, but yeah, that grizzled, he's just breathed enough scarecrow venom or scarecrow toxin, and just beating the hell out of his body. So
yes. And this was before things like Batman Beyond existed, so we didn't have that type of future. This was before all of the 90s and the gadgets and things, so this was Frank Miller's vision of what the future would be like. I did love some things like the Reagan esque
which fit because he was in the 80s.
He just kept deteriorating throughout the film.
Yeah.
It looked like his skin was gonna fall off his bones at some point.
Yeah.
Like, he's just waiting to die. I'm just waiting for him.
And other things aesthetically, like the newscasters and everything. I mean, this was clearly This is a mesh of old and new, you know.
It was like the future vision of the 80s. So
and
it
the
was
big
like,
hair and the
what you got out of like
earring.
Back to the Future 2.
Right.
What they thought the future was going to look like.
Yep, exactly. So, and it was also before all the 90s Batman arcs where we did get some female Robins, like Stephanie Brown stepping up as female Robin. So this was Frank Miller's version, and we did get a female Robin for the first time, and she didn't have to be a Batgirl. And I liked her, Carrie, and I think she was great. And
she was kind of the first person in Gotham in that time period, or for this time period the movie set in, to take it upon herself.
Yes.
To be a citizen soldier, as it would be.
Yeah.
She donned just a regular Robin costume that she got in the mail, and then just went out and sought out Batman to take up the mantle of Robin.
And that was a big theme in the show of standing up, and there was a lot of political undertones in this show, especially with her parents.
Yeah. Drugged out hippies.
Hippie stoner parents.
Yeah. Do you remember Chicago? I was too stoned to remember Chicago.
And a lot happened in just the first one itself. We had Dent. The story of Harvey Dent, and they fixed his face, but he was still too crazy to really accept it.
Yeah, he thought that in his mind, instead of it being a normal face, they had deformed the other side so it matched.
Yeah, and I mean that speaks to the Two-Face character though, because in everything, I think in every iteration that they use Two-Face, he stopped being Dent when he became disfigured.
Sure.
So for him to continue to think, well, yeah, I am, for his inner self-image was, to to be disfigured on both sides now
Right.
kind of made sense because he's always been two-faced, but now he's just the deformity.
Yeah, like as they said in the movie, he's like given over completely to his inner demon, or however you.
But I loved how Bruce tried to help him. You know, like he was behind the surgery and everything and the rehabilitation, and because you know it. The Long Halloween came before this, and they were very much friends in that iteration. And if you notice, there was a lot of things that they took from this story and put it into like the Nolan film. Like when the cops are chasing him, and he says, "Hold back, you know, you're in for a show tonight." That was in one of the Nolan films.
Yeah, I think that's when in the tunnel scene.
Yeah. And when he was taking down some of the bad guys, he goes through the wall and takes the big machine gun, and that was very much in Batman v Superman.
Yep.
I did love all the scenes where he just like came through something and like took somebody, and it's like all black.
He's a force to be reckoned with. So part 2, once we got past the mutant story, which ended viciously, he took out that mutant like crazy.
Yeah.
But I did like the element where basically, you know, now we have these gangs that are following him, you know, and there was there was a comic in the 90s called War Games. And it actually had a female Robin as well, and it was Stephanie Brown. She very much, I'm pretty sure, was influenced by this, but she disobeyed one of Batman's orders, and he fired her. And she thought that she would redeem herself when she found some plans to take down all the gangs in Gotham, and basically it all hinged on these gangs getting hit at the same time and all blaming it on one guy. But this one guy was supposed to take over and reign. And what she didn't know is that this was Batman's plan, and that guy was one of his alter egos. And so when he wasn't there to be the one to rein everybody in, the whole city just erupted in chaos. And he had to come in and clean it up, and it was a big undertaking, and it killed some main characters. But that was like, it very much referenced this. That was a backup plan of his, that if he ever needed to, he would go in and just take over the gangs. And
like Red Hood.
Very much like Red Hood, yeah. And so I liked that aspect, but I also understand why the city politics were very anti-Batman at the end of the first film, and then certainly going into the second part. So, what did you think about the second part?
I mean, my comments were for like the movie as a whole. It was really, bringing Superman in was interesting. You can definitely see the correlation between Batman versus Superman in this film, except for the ending is kind of reversed. It was good. I mean, it was really good. I
think this one's the better of the two, just because you get the Joker in there, who's, you know, the end all nemesis. So
that whole thing with Joker was
the love tunnel scene,
insane.
And
insane.
graphic, so graphic.
And
Now, you had mentioned a part in that where you think that he snapped his neck, but the Joker was still talking.
Still talking, yes,
so
in his mind.
There's a theory that it's either in his mind or, he just didn't kill him all the way, but then people are like, well, how could someone snap their own neck?
Yeah.
So there have been theories that scene is just
in his mind.
Batman talking to him still after he's dead, so Batman really did kill him.
Well, and he had been stabbed multiple times, shot and sliced, so he was probably seeing things. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's understandable because then when he burns the body as a distraction, you know, he's trying to set off the explosive that he had put out. You know, he looks over, you know, sees the big grin on the burning body's face, and he's like, "Stop laughing at me."
Right. Yeah. Now, this movie was still PG-13, and I don't understand how.
Well,
that should have been R.
I think the thing that saved it was language. I really think that it's language that saved it.
Language and nudity, aside from Nazi
Oh yeah,
Nazi.
Nazi.
Well,
What's her
still,
face?
That's an implied nudity.
Yeah, it's
and there's
not really
nothing
there.
defining there.
Right.
There's no areola. You're fine.
But there was a lot of blood.
Thanks.
Lot of blood in that
There
scene
was.
alone. And then we do get to the Superman conflict. What I liked about this was, although I could understand why the conflict existed in Batman v Superman, this was a better story of why they were pitted against each other. And it certainly showed Frank Miller's cynicism against Superman, and basically writing him as he turned out to be an errand boy for America.
Yeah.
Like something the government had an arrangement where superheroes went away, but Superman was not a protector of the earth anymore. He was like the boy that America used to solve its problems.
Which is unfortunate.
and which
I didn't really care for Superman that way, I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
and I mean, I've always thought of it as that was the payoff to keep everybody else safe, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure he had
Yeah.
reasons to do it. He still seemed like an admirable character.
Yeah.
Like,
So, I mean,
yeah.
he was doing it not necessarily against his own will, but for, just...
For the greater good.
Yeah, for the greater good. So-
But with sacrifices. Like, it seemed like he was involved in Oliver losing his arm, and it just. I mean, like, Bruce didn't hate him, but he certainly didn't like him anymore.
Right.
either.
Yeah.
Well, and he kind of turned into a war machine in this movie. I mean, he's taking out enemy soldiers and
Yeah.
planes and ships, sinking ships, and all kinds of stuff.
That whole Cold War subplot was really interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean,
well,
they could have
fits
cut
with
that
the
whole thing
Nixon
out of the
thing,
film, but
the
added a
Reagan
little
thing.
context.
Yeah, I mean, definitely to where the world was, and then two, as a mirror to where the relationship between Clark and Bruce was. So.
And I love how at the end the nation is in chaos except
for
Gotham,
Gotham.
Yeah.
which has always been like the worst. Like everybody's in terror, but the ghetto's cool.
Yeah.
The ghetto's taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And
But
and they
which-
ended up sending him in just because he's more of an embarrassment than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I was just kind of like, seriously? Like, look at your country, and this is what you're worrying about right now.
Yeah.
More about saving face, just like the flub that Reagan had during one of his speeches was, we have to protect our interests. I mean public safety,
Yes,
or
yeah,
national safety,
very much.
So
Very political writing. Yeah. The score to this film, that main theme, the
So
horns and
good.
everything. You're just, especially when it swells up in the fight scenes. Great score for this.
Really good score, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
it.
the just everything, the artwork as well, the very colorful, very
Yeah.
well drawn.
I was unsure when it started. There, like with the cars in the beginning, the race in the beginning, very computer generated art, and
Sure.
it wasn't great. And so I was like, oh man, how much of this am I gonna have to deal with?
Yeah.
And but it really got, to a point where you didn't really notice it. It wasn't so in your face like the opening scenes, I guess.
That's true.
And I think the only other time that it was Superman going after the nuke.
Yeah.
The clouds,
Well,
were definitely.
yeah.
The clouds, it was
Sure.
very computer.
But that's not so in your face as like cars racing.
right.
Yeah.
And I think it worked for the nuke because it was very warpy and
Yeah.
everything and trippy but
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
I did
weird.
sense it with the cars too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the rest of it was well balanced.
Right.
There's a lot of
that's
really
what I'm
great
saying.
artwork. Yeah.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh man, it's gonna be one of those films, but it wasn't. I was happy about that.
Something that gets Maddie when we watch this film is that face that Joker makes right before he dies.
Yeah.
It was like young Joker, like he was seeing young Joker, not Joker as he is anymore, and that is creepy face.
It is creepy. That was really creepy.
Yeah.
For sure.
A lot of great things about this film. It was definitely it's definitely not something you would ever expect to see on the big screen or massively commercialized, even though this was, it made it to this level, which a lot of people didn't think it would ever would,
But I would like to go see this in a nice theater.
Alamo,
yeah.
get on it.
Right?
That'd be great.
And it is. If you watch it as one full movie, it is one story about about Batman deciding to come back because Gotham is in shambles, and then the consequences of him coming back, and then how he decides to end it. You know, he started it up again. He has to end it away. He had that line where he said for 10 years he searched for a good death. You know,
this is a good life.
Yeah. So I love that aspect. It's very much Old Man Bruce.
Yeah.
And since we just watched Logan, that's all I could think about is Old Man
Old
Bruce.
Man.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And this was before even Old Man Logan. So,
Right.
you know, talk about success.
Yeah.
You know, with that kind of angle of a storyline. We're just a grizzled old character.
Now, this wasn't the last story that Frank Miller wrote. If it was, he would be a god among men with Batman writers. But he went on to write The Dark Knight Strikes Again, and that had even weirder artwork and was generally hated. Then he came back and wrote Batman Year One, which was a take on Batman's origin story, which put Catwoman in another weird light. She was a prostitute in that film. Although I guess she wasn't a prostitute in this film. She was like an escort manager.
Yeah,
But
I would say
was that
Lady
Catwoman?
Pimp.
That was
Or
Catwoman.
was that-
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Because then they dressed her up like Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
was
I
it.
think that was
So I got
was more
super
the
confused.
Joker messing with Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Batman and Wonder Woman had a thing
You're right.
for a while, so
Right.
it was
Okay.
more of here's the woman you really love as the woman you thought you loved
thought-
but could never get.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that makes more
It
sense.
was a mind game. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was watching it, I was like, oh, that's totally Catwoman. And then that happened, I'm like, wait, what just happened?
Right.
I'm confused now. All right, that makes
But I did
sense.
like that. I mean, it was. She unfortunately there's got to be some character that got the short end of the stick, and that was definitely her. And even Joker came in and made a statement about that. You know. And what did you think of the Joker in this, as far as his personality and whatnot? Since you were so critical of the Joker and Under the Red Hood.
I was just different. The look was different. He has like a clean cut look, which I haven't seen much of. Wasn't totally sold on this voice either, but like the personality, I mean, was probably one of the creepier ones I've seen. Like it just got progressively creepy. Like at first I'm like, he doesn't seem so. I mean, when he first starts out, he doesn't seem that bad, and then it was like the love tunnel scene. It was just like it got way creepy, and so I mean, it was enjoyable to like see that character in a different way. Like I've seen him creepy and I've seen him do crazy stuff, but this is like a whole new level Joker. So
I did like that he kind of nodded back to his more flamboyant history, because he did kind of have some flamboyancy in the beginning of this before he went all freaking psycho with that cup on the late night show.
Yeah, I mean, and during the carnival scene, I would say that went back to the kind of the Adam West Adam West Joker, where he was just kind of running around acting really silly, but then also really maniacal.
Right.
yeah.
So, you know, it was kind of a blend of, you know, probably a couple Jokers at that point, but I definitely saw I cannot remember his name, Carlos, I believe Carlos something, but I felt like it was that Adam West Batman kind of running through the...
Wasn't it Carlos Romero or something like that, or something
familiar,
like that? Yeah.
But it felt like that...
Caesar Romero,
there we go, yeah. That Joker running through, but then like maybe like a Nicholas Joker doing the actions, you know, kind of like wearing another mask or something.
Yeah. There was a movie in theaters, a Batman animated movie called The Killing Joke. Did you see that?
I have seen that, and that was probably some of the best Batman acting in an adaptation.
Sure. But that was rated R.
Yes, that one was, yeah.
And the festival carnival scene at the end of that one compared to the love tunnel scene, I always thought that the love tunnel scene and that carnival scene was more creepy than the payoff in The Killing Joke.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super satisfied at the end of the Killing Joke, but I knew the story already, so I mean, I wasn't gonna find satisfaction there to begin with.
Well, and I guess that was more like breaking down Gordon's mind.
Yeah.
Where the love tunnel was just about killing as many people before you go out.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think total mind game versus just senseless violence. So that senseless violence,
which makes it more creepy because it's
Yeah.
just senseless.
I mean, that's a total Nicholas Joker versus the mind game of the Hamill Joker with some of the Ledger Joker kind of sprinkled in there, but
You're right.
But it was definitely an original Hamill Joker. I mean, through that whole thing. But you're right. It definitely liked the Tunnel of Love one a lot more, but was far more creeped out by the Killing Joke one.
Yeah. The other reason I wanted to watch these two movies back to back is because of the climax for the Jokers, how different the Batman in each film was. With when you had Red Hood, and you decide me or him,
so strong,
and all the graveyards he's filled, and Batman still walks away from that. And in this one,
like he makes that comment, like all the murder.
All the people I've murdered.
Yeah, all the people I've murdered by
not
killing you. Yeah.
And he's like, do you even know how many? He's like, no, I lost count, or I never counted. He's like, well, I did.
Yeah.
So
he said, I love you for it. Yeah. It was very much a different Batman, and maybe age and time would turn him into that.
I was just gonna say, like, age. I mean, he's at the end, he's been doing the Batman thing for so long, it like finally took its toll where he didn't need much more. And just walking through that tunnel and seeing the chaos, it's just like snap.
One after another.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously the two Batman are pretty different because I mean, the Batman in Red Hood got Jason Todd back, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Where this one, we don't know really, where the story went after he lost Jason Todd. What happened in that period before he retired and then was brooding on it for 10 years.
Clearly something happened because everybody kept on referencing Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, Commissioner Gordon did,
Jason?
Alfred did, I mean, the villains did. Yeah, it was very much like if you want to jab Batman, bring up Jason. Yeah. Definitely. Trying to think, is there anything else we can talk? I mean, I could talk about this movie forever. There's just so many good points. Oh, the other thing is, I mean, another element Batman v Superman brought from this was Batman killing. Batman killed the Joker in this. Batman was kind of killing people in the beginning of Batman v Superman. He had gotten to that point. Now that was a little more. He was straight up killing people left and right. He was driving his Batmobile through people.
Yeah.
Through people.
That's so great.
And I mean, maybe they could have built that up a little more or gave it a little more depth as to what got him to that point.
Yeah, how
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's the point of the Solo movie.
Yeah.
Is what their goal was, because this was just supposed to be like, hey, fan service, grizzled Batman.
Yeah. But ever since I read this story, I've always wanted to see Batman taken to that point, and then see what happens, what brings him back, because he does do a circle in this. Well, not a circle, because it's not like he's just straight out killing people in the beginning, but
he's more violent than I mean, once he gets the guy down, instead of just tying him up and leaving, he's like...
He has to make a message statement.
Yeah, he's
like
going for it.
The first one, he broke that dude's femur.
And then his arm, and then his...
Stepping on hands and...
Putting how many, metal bats did he, put through people's hands?
Yeah.
He's
vicious with those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when that one got in the Joker's eye.
I'm like, how are you, one, not dead, or two, not bleeding out?
He didn't take it out. He took out the other ones. He let that one in.
Still, but those, anyway, but yeah.
Well, he got his hits too, obviously.
Yeah.
Well,
The Joker got those in by the end.
Yeah, for sure.
But I did like his he kind of went from a very violent Batman to a very community service Batman when he came in on the horse.
Yes, that was weird.
Oh, but it was great.
It was great.
It was Batman on a horse, man.
It was weird. Batman on a horse. I like
got-
comical. To me.
I got like Batman Gotham by Gaslight kind of feeling
Yeah.
from that, even though it was set, that was written and done way before.
Right.
But it just reminded me of Gotham by Gaslight.
I mean, it was great. It was just kind of funny.
Well, it was different because he
yeah.
was coming out to the public. He was
Yeah.
he was putting a very public face on himself and saying we're going to
He
work
was
together.
making his statement
Yeah, he
to
was.
the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of great elements in this film. I'm so glad that you could watch it.
Me too.
I bet you just you wouldn't have guessed that this type of Batman film existed out there.
I wouldn't go that far because I do know you and I've known you for a long time. So I know it's come up in conversation. I at least knew comics existed that went even further than this one.
Yep.
But yeah, so I don't know if totally shocked, but to watch it, yeah, a little bit.
Any final thoughts, Dustin?
This would be a great live action.
So much.
I mean, I know it'll probably never happen just because it's way too involved. I mean, you take the longest movie, I think is what, like 3.5 hours in Inception, but I don't think they'll do that. I don't think, to be able to do it justice, it would have to be a long movie, and I don't think they'd really invest the time to do it properly.
Well, the theme of the age now is to make multiple, so they could split it into a 3-movie series.
That would drive me insane. Like,
or they did it with
split
this.
it into
This
the
was
two.
bad enough getting part 1 and 2 because it was like, just make the whole thing. Like, it's
Which
not
they
like
did eventually release it as a whole thing,
Right.
but it's
But just, I understand it was a money grab to get part 1 and part 2. Just give me the whole movie.
So they were
and
just ahead
because
of-
they could.
Yeah.
I mean, Under the Red Hood didn't feel like a rushed movie, and that was half this length time, So
Yeah.
I did like how this was double that length time, but for the most part, it was still
It was full of
paced
story.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it was-
it kept moving forward. It wasn't too many
There
dry
wasn't
points
slow.
in there, right? So, I would love to see a live action version of this. That would be really cool.
I know. Affleck, just do it already.
Yeah,
All right.
but I'd also love to see a live action Batman Beyond, and they both have Old Man Bruce in it, so you got to pick between the two.
Yeah, and don't get me started on Batman Beyond. I love that so much. And
Yep.
if they don't cast,
Well, especially with your anime background.
yeah,
Very influenced.
And, if they don't cast Michael Keaton as old Batman, I will flip.
Bring him back on the fold, man. Do it.
Yeah,
Don't flip the couch.
yeah. I probably would flip the couch if they didn't bring in
Do it. Don't do it.
as Old Man Batman.
Yep.
Or Old Man Bruce.
Well, thanks for watching with us. Obviously, these aren't the only Batman animated films out there, but they're two of my favorites. And Allie did watch one of them, but she didn't remember it, and I just wanted to have a night to watch both of them and enjoy both of them. And so thank you so much for coming over and doing that. And
Good time.
yeah.